When you look in Ukraine, out of 43 million people, less than 1% are evangelical Christians. In Ukrainian Baptist Theological Seminary, we ask ourselves what makes the school effective. And looking for that answer, we found three things, three values that are being missed in our churches quite often. And first of them, it's biblical, second is missional, and third is accountability. It has a lot of churches. You can look here, and those churches represent about 120,000 people. Most of our churches went through the persecution period. And when you think about persecution, you think about internal work. In most of our churches in that environment, being biblical means to be true to the tradition. And from 91 till now, we have a time of freedom. And churches do not really change. We build pretty thick walls and pretty tall walls. In many cases, if you ask people around here in Ukraine, people would say that being biblical, or being Baptist for that matter, actually means what you do and what you don't do. So the whole definition is very, very legalistic. Being biblical is being in love with your God, not with the letter of the text, but with God, the author. And you have to love your neighbor, because there is no love to God without love to your neighbor. For our seminary, missional means to live for other people. But when you look in the multitude of people just walking by me, only 1 out of 100 is a believer. Being missional is the whole existence of the church is concerned about sinners. It's not so much concerned about preserving the truth or preserving the tradition. The church exists because of sinners. It's not the spiritual gym where people come to pump their spiritual muscles. The church is more like a hospital, like a training base, where people come in order to be treated, or people come in order to be trained and sent out on a mission. It's not so much about you, about how strong spiritually you are, but it's about you governing and serving others, and at the same time loving your God. Most of the people are not feeling accountable for what they're doing, and then they're not sure who they're accountable to for what they're doing. Jesus gave us spiritual gift, and we are accountable for using that spiritual gift before God and before our fellow brothers, our fellow believers. And so when we think about accountability in the seminary, we're trying to help every student through the mentoring process to understand that he is accountable to God and he is accountable to his local church. And through this mentoring process, we help them to develop KAD, Key Accountability Document. And the main reason for this document is to help the student to understand what is his role, what are short-term goals that he has, and what is the behavior that's being expected from him. And practicing this document within the seminary and outside the seminary, we hope that it will help our students to be more accountable in what they're doing. And the way we do that in the seminary, we realize that we cannot change all these people. We cannot change this context, this environment that we are part of. But what we can do, we can create a different context. Something that is very simple, and something where people live by these three values: biblical, missional, accountability. And our idea of the seminary is for those students to get infected with these values of BMW. As a result of that, they will go to their churches and they will infect their churches with these values. So we're trying to plant churches through our church planning program, which already have this BMW as their value set. In addition to that, we are working on developing a network of Bible colleges, where we're trying to infect those Bible colleges with the same set of values, BMW. So, answering the question, what makes our school effective? It's fairly simple. If our local churches will baptize more people, our vision will become a reality. And our success is measured in the number of baptisms in local church.